We became involved in the employer-sponsored volunteering scheme through our work with Selby District Council. They'd had a meeting with Drax Power and approached us to look at running a pilot scheme in Selby District. We work with over 350 organisations within the district and felt that this was an opportunity to help them develop capacity in delivering their services. Many of their services are volunteer-led, and quite often they deliver services that the statutory sector are not able to deliver, so they meet the needs of their local community and plug gaps in services too.
We want to establish a volunteering policy for the company. And really, when we first spoke to Selby District Council and they came up with this idea for the pilot, it seemed to us to be a really good idea to kickstart our own thinking about volunteering and how we can actually develop that side of what we do as part of our corporate responsibility.
The Council's got an awful lot out of this scheme already. We're very committed to working with communities for a start, but in terms of our own staff, we've gained an awful lot from being involved. Teams have been able to come together and do team building in a totally different way, and then individuals, some of whom may not work with the public as part of their jobs, have had a unique insight into working with vulnerable groups in our community, and that's really changed their understanding of the people we serve. So as a council, as an employer, with our own staff, we've got an awful lot out of this.
I think on the whole we've benefited greatly from having our volunteer. He was very enthusiastic, everyone talked about him, he was eager to fit in, and he brought a lot of up-to-date skills, and it was great, and I certainly have another volunteer.
I volunteered for the Alzheimer's Society for their Singing for the Brain group. And I found that it gave me a real insight into the lives of other people, because obviously I work a full-time job, 9 to 5 kind of hours, and you're in your own sort of treadmill, and you don't realise that for people with Alzheimer's, there are some days when they can't leave their house, there are other times that something might have occurred with their carers, and that really their lives are ruled by their illness. I think the impact at work that I've taken back from volunteering has been that other people have asked me about my volunteering experience, that they've been really interested in it, they've been thinking that they might want to do something similar in the future, or thought of the things that they could perhaps get involved in next year. And also it's given me an insight into the way that our services might impact on people who have disabilities or difficulties in their day-to-day lives. And it's just really set thoughts going about how structured we are, and how hard it is for them to interact with us sometimes.
The worthwhileness that comes to all sides, and we saw it as a great experience, and all of us that volunteered had said that we would like to continue to do that. So that's something that that's a good thing to promote really. We all found it really beneficial, and it's something that we'd want to continue, so we saw that as a real positive.
The ESV model is proven in terms of what it actually can deliver in terms of the business benefit. So I would say to any company that's interested, any organisation in the third sector, that it's worth considering.
Well, I'd say just do it. It's a good thing to do, it obviously helps the community, but I'd make one more important point to them. They can get an awful lot out of this themselves as organisations and their staff. So before they get involved, they should look at what their objectives are and the objectives for their staff members, because it can be an extremely useful learning and development tool.
They can help us as an organisation, but you can help them by giving them the opportunity to try something new and to help the community.
I feel very proud of what I was able to do for Selby Carers. I went into it expecting to be able to help, but not in how I was going to be able to help them. I was actually surprised with what I actually gained with this volunteering experience. I went into the Selby Carers thinking that I wasn't really going to be gaining much myself, but I couldn't be further from the truth, to be perfectly honest. I was able to teach, I had to learn a bit more patience. I and I've had to implement that at work as well.
As a personal learning opportunity for individuals involved in this scheme, we can offer ILM accreditation. This is a practical learning and development programme for team leaders and managers. The employer-sponsored volunteering scheme is a great opportunity to further develop the relationships between the business and the voluntary and community sector. It's about the exchange of skills and experiences and will benefit the employer, the voluntary and community groups, and obviously the individuals that access those services, and together they will make a real impact.